Evening all, Stephen here, aka Biggles Brewery. Cheers. Just having a quick slurp of my Red X tangerine hybrid thing. Pretty delicious. It's actually the second time I've brewed it during lockdown. Every time I put it on keg, it just seems to disappear. I think the beer fairies have been having their wicked way with it. This video is a little different from the normal. Something that's very close to my heart / stomach. Beer snacks. I absolutely love eating whilst drinking. You'd be surprised to know, looking at the size of me. As you can tell, I like a lot of snacks, so I've got a couple of different recipes I like making. Depends how many people are coming over, or if it's just a long-term storage thing. So do some honey roasted chili peanuts, pork belly burnt bites, candied bacon, just a few bits and pieces. I like just have them stored up in big jars like this with the chili peanuts or candied bacon, just something like that. Just something so you can sit and pick at in the bar without having to go indoors to grab a bite. One of my favourite things, and I've been making quite a lot of it during lockdown, is jerky or biltong or whatever you class it as. So I thought I'd just run through my very basic recipe. I did two recipes today. One is my tried and tested chili, which I always like to do half a batch of, and the other one I tried some piri piri lemon and herb one, which is just a marinade from Aldi or Lidl or wherever. Can't say I'm super impressed with that. I think the other half of the bottle will just be going on some chicken, but yeah, I absolutely love this stuff. I'm sure everybody's had jerky before in the past. It's just basically dried pieces of beef, spiced however you like. I like mine really hot. Just think it's just quite nice with a beer. Cuts through it, makes you just drink more and more, which is probably a bad thing, but I suppose it's probably slightly healthier than eating crisps, which is just full of fat. So I'll cut to the footage of me making it. Oh, one last thing before I forget, if any of you guys have got any tried and tested beer snacks or anything you like to make or buy even whilst you're having a little beer or two, please drop it in the comments below, because I'm always up for trying new things. Morning all, Stephen here, aka Biggles Brewery. Just going to quickly show you how I make my beef jerky in the dehydrator. Making two types today. I'm going to do a piri piri lemon and herb, just marinate some in that with a bit of salt and pepper, and then the other one is super hot and spicy, a couple of types of chili, some pimenton, chili powder, 2 types of chili flakes, and a few garlic and herb bits. Cool, just going to get to slicing the meat. Today I'm using just a slab of brisket from Tesco's. Right, just got this out of the packaging. I froze this for about a week or so, and then I put it in the fridge overnight just to defrost. I find if I freeze it, it sort of just breaks it down a little bit easier, and if it's still slightly frozen, it makes cutting it a lot easier. So I'm just going to trim off some of the fat now. So I've trimmed off all the silver skin on the outside. However, I don't trim all the intramuscular fat. I find it just adds a little bit more flavour, and it doesn't last long enough in my fridge to go rancid or anything. So I'm now just going to slice this up and start preparing. Right, for the spice mix, for the hot one, I go with, because I'm splitting this in half, probably half a teaspoon of onion, garlic, each type of chili, pimenton, celery salt, and half a teaspoon of chili powder. I go with 2 tablespoons of dark brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of Worcester sauce, and about half a bottle of the reduced soy sauce. Let's get all that in there. Right, that's all the dry ingredients. Now to stick in the wet. Give it a quick mix. And a little taste. Probably not quite spicy enough for me. I might put a few more chili flakes. Right, because this is still frozen, it's very easy to cut. I cut it about thickness of a pound coin. And the way I do it is I do half of it against the grain, or with the grain, and then just roll it around and do it the other way. So I get two different textures when doing it, then just split the meat up evenly between the two bowls. So as I said, once I've done half the joint, I rotate it through 90 degrees and cut this way, just so you get a different texture when chewing some of the pieces. Right, as you can see, split the meat up into two piles. You've got different bits in there. So I like to have some long stringy bits, some nice big flat bits. There's a couple of bits here which had just a bit too much fat, so just cut those and discard those away. All different sort of shapes and sizes, just to get nice different textures really. And same in here. Still got quite a bit of fat on for a lot of people's taste, but once it's been on there for 8 hours or so, most of that's rendered down. Right, so just going to mix this all in here. I do it by hand because, you know, it's only me eating it. I'm not a big fan of sharing. Now I'm going to cover that and put that in the fridge and leave it for a couple of hours. Okay, for the second type, just going to be nice and easy, a lemon and herb marinade. Just going to pour that on. It's about half the bottle. One last thing, I'm going to give both of these a big hit of pepper. And what I usually do is pepper them as I lay them on the racks as well. Just tested a bit of the meat, fried it off in the pan to see how it was. Not quite strong enough, to be honest. So I've just grabbed some peri-peri seasoning from the thing. Going to liberally sprinkle some of that over and mix that in. Biggest tips when making this is obviously season it to your taste, but try it. Throw a little bit in a frying pan, just see how it tastes. Nothing worse than under-seasoned jerky. And also make sure the meat is frozen when cutting it. Just makes slicing it so much easier. Now I'm going to slap this in the fridge for a couple of hours. The longer you leave it, the better it's going to be. Right, I'm going to start with the lemon and herb one. Just going to lay it out on all the racks. I think I've probably got too much to do all in one go. I'll probably do a batch today, batch tomorrow. So what we're going to do, just take some of this, put it on here, pat it a little bit dry, and then lay it on here. This is quite a wet marinade, I've never used it before. Just thought I'd give it a try, something different. Right, I'm just going to fill all of that onto there, back in a second. So we ended up with 3 trays of the lemon herb peri-peri one. And now for the spicy one, exactly the same process. I've only got 2 trays. Right, managed to get 2 trays worth. Just going to give them another sprinkling of pepper and chilli flakes. Right, so stack the 5 trays on there. Just turn this on. I set mine to about 65 degrees and just leave it. I rotate the tray from the bottom to the top every hour or so, just to keep it nice and even. See when I'm doing the first rotation. Right, all I like to do now is take the lid off, take the top 4 trays and rotate this one at the bottom to the top. Pop the lid back on, leave it for another hour. Nice and simple. Once it starts getting dry enough, what I also like to do is just peel it off and flip it all over, just to make sure you get a nice even dry on it. Oops. This is one of the hardest bits when you're about 3 or 4 hours in, and it's quite a few of the little bits are done. You end up just taking them off and eating them. Absolutely delicious when it's warm. Even better if you can just leave it a little bit. What I do after about 4 or 5 hours is I take off all the pieces that are basically done and reduce the number of shelves. Once it's taken out, I put it in a bowl like this and cover it, just so that there's no flies or anything on it, and let it cool down. Then I'll pop it into a box and stick it in the fridge. It'll last up to a month easily. Or if I wasn't going to eat it all, I will vacuum seal it into smaller portions, and it'll last in the fridge for 3 months. Problem is, during lockdown, this stuff doesn't last any time at all. When it's in a box like that, very hard to control yourself. You end up eating the whole lot easily within a week.